This is Front Up on GenoTV.com and Channel 99. I'm Dan Drake, and our guest is CecilBaronJensen, the Executive Director of the Artists Association of Nantucket.
Right.
Cecil, tell us a little bit about your history here on the island, when you came, what you've done since you got here.
Okay, I arrived on the island with 3 very small children in 1996. And within a few months of moving here, I started working at the Nantucket Historical Association, and I stayed there. And at that time, I stayed there for 9 years. And at the time that I started, the new Whaling Museum was just a glimmer in a few people's eye. And we had this incredible vision for restoring the old building and turning the Whaling Museum into what it has become. And I was there for 9 years, and I was part of the development team. Specifically, I was responsible for the public relations and the publications. And I absolutely had the greatest pleasure being the editor of Historic Nantucket, which was their quarterly,
magazine.
Quarterly membership magazine. And you know, it was you know, unfortunately, print publications have changed so much since that time. But when I was there in '96 through to 2005, it was still, you know, published every quarter and on scholarly topics, and you know, all these interesting people like Peter, who was a guest earlier, who did research on Nantucket history and the Nantucket environment, and were able to contribute really interesting articles to that publication.
And then where did you move to from the historical?
From there, I moved to the Nantucket New School, where I was the director of development, and they were finishing up a capital campaign to, you know, wrap up the campaign that allowed them to move to their new building on Nobodere Farm Road. And I also, so I helped with that, but I also was really working on community development there for them to try to get more students into the building, and worked with their head of school, Dave Provost, who's just recently left. But I want to say that I really truly graduated from the new school just a few years ago when my youngest daughter graduated from the 8th grade. I had 12 years of involvement at the Nantucket New School, and thankfully they've just asked me to go back on the board, so I'm back involved again. I'm getting, must be my postdoctorate now or something at the Nantucket New School.
Or they see a sucker coming. We all know about that, don't we?
And then in 2008, I moved to the Artist Association.
So it's been 5 years. Almost 5?
Almost, well, I've been there just over 4 years. Yeah. So it's gone in a blink, and but it's been really great. It's been a wonderful experience for me.
Tell us a little bit about the Artists Association, where it came from, why it exists.
Yeah, that's a really good question, an interesting one. The Artists Association was founded in 1945, and it was founded by a group of artists who were given the opportunity to really gather together in the old Macy Warehouse building that's now owned by the NHA. And another organization said to them, okay, this is a space where you can get going and show your work. And that was in July. They opened the first exhibition in the Kenneth Taylor Galleries in July, and then by September they had formed the Artist Association. So it really, you know, it all started with the opportunity to show their work. And then
do we know, were there other galleries on the island at that time?
Yeah, well, actually it was 1945, so it was a little bit of a drought. There had been some wonderful galleries on the island that had just recently closed
because of the war,
and the economy and changing times. And so they were just, I think they were a little adrift with a big central gallery, and so when they were given the opportunity, they jumped on it. But the organization, the Artist Association, formed with really 3 intentions. And one was to exhibit their work, and the second was to learn from each other and to bring teachers to the island to teach art. And there was an artist named Frank Swift Chase who was coming to the island at the time, and he was one of their primary teachers, also a fabulous artist, ended up exhibiting. So the artists formed to exhibit their work together, and then to bring teachers over and to teach amongst themselves. In fact, you know George Thomas.
Yes.
He tells this really funny story about when he was a kid, probably in his teens. He used to hang out at in the parking lot, you know, the A&P parking lot across the street from the Kenneth Taylor studios or galleries, and wait for one of the artists to come by to take him out to paint, because they were really all about teaching each other and teaching young people.
That's a great story. I've never heard that.
Yeah. And then the last, or if you think of it as a stool with 3 legs, the last stool was to preserve the art. So there were a number of people, you know, I'm not going to say husbands of artists, but there were a number of husbands. There were a lot of women artists, and their husbands wanted to find a way to preserve their art for all time going forward. And so they started the permanent collection. So the Artist Association, to this day, still does those 3 main things. We exhibit work of contemporary artists, we teach classes in art, in visual arts, and we have a wonderful permanent collection, which is now about 1,200 pieces and growing. And we exhibit work from
that's
the
a
collection.
big collection to store and maintain and so forth.
Yeah.
Where do you keep them? In your building?
No, we have a
storage unit?
Yeah, we have a storage unit. Yeah, we actually have 2.
So you have a gallery now.
We do.
It's not the Kenneth Taylor Gallery or the little gallery anymore.
Right.
It's the Seward Johnson.
Yeah, we've been at the Joyce and Seward Johnson Gallery. It's probably more than 10 years now, and oh gosh, probably more than 15 years now. Gosh, time really. I can't believe it's 2008. But anyway, not 2013. What am I saying? 2008 when I started. Anyway, time does go so fast. But the gallery is at 19 Washington Street, and we show 13 to 14 exhibitions during the season. In fact, we have our first show of 2013 opening this Friday.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Good timing.
Yeah, it's a Valentine's show. And in fact, it's kind of nice. We have the Valentine's show on the first floor, and then on the top floor, our curator, Bobby Frazier, has put together a little exhibition in honor of 4 artists who just recently passed away. So we'll have works by them.
Can you tell us who they are? Do you remember who they are?
Barbara Kaufman-Locke, Jeanette Carl, Marion Potter Sharp.
Right.
And the last one, I have my notes. Hang on. Oh, Maggie Meredith.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, how could I forget about her? Yeah, Maggie Meredith.
That's great. Wow.
So that'll be upstairs, and Bobby's done a really nice job of taking pieces from our permanent collection, but also borrowing pieces from members of the community who've been able to contribute.
That's great.
So, yeah.
And the teaching aspect of it, you have year-round teaching programs?
Yep, year-round. We, in the last couple of years, we have had over 700 kids enroll in our programs, and over 350 adults. So it's a pretty busy organization, and we teach classes, everything from ceramics. We have a lovely ceramic studio and a computer lab where kids are doing, I say kids because it's primarily kids right now, doing classes in digital photography. And so we have 2 different teachers who work with them in the computer lab. And then we have a nice big painting studio where we do mixed media and painting and drawing classes. So any age and all skills.
What ages are among young people? Just what are the concentrations of ages, if there are any, or does it range pretty much?
We really have a pretty wide range. 2 mornings a week we have children as young as a year and a half in a preschool class.
Ambitious.
Yeah. So they come in with their parents 2 mornings a week.
Is it a program where the parents participate with them?
Yes. And that's the preschool group. And that's actually been really nice. That's grown a lot the last few years. We got a nice grant recently from two very generous people who gave us some money so that we could make it really affordable to the families. So families just pay a $5 drop-in fee for the class. So that's grown, and then we have after school crowd, and that's 6 years up to high school students. And we have recently really had great success of getting high school students to come back and be not just taking classes with us, but being interns in our programs. So they're helping teach the younger kids, which is really a nice thing. And then adults. And then seniors. We get a grant every year from the Nantucket Cultural Council to offer programs for seniors in art. And we work on that through the Saltmar Center. So we coordinate with them.
Do you have any plans to expand your programs at this point, or are you pretty well maxed out? No. We actually just finished, our Board of Trustees just finished a 3-year strategic plan. And one of our goals is to grow our programs in our gallery and reach out beyond the buildings that we're in, but to take classes and exhibitions and everything out into the community. So we're working on growing all over the place. How do you get the word out? Both about the gallery.
That is one of the biggest challenges. It's a pretty crowded landscape here, so we have to really work hard at that. And that is also one of our strategic goals, is to do a better job of that. But we've got our members on our side, which I think really makes a difference. We've got 200, actually just over 200 artist members, and they obviously show in our gallery, so they're great at promoting what's going on in the gallery. They're also our teachers. A good number of our artist members are teachers, so they're out promoting their classes and the work that we do in the education world. And it was an artist member who actually, Christine Sanford, who suggested that we do an exhibition focused on the works of the 4 artists who we're celebrating on Friday. And so I think that the community of artists really are at the heart of promoting and getting the word out. Our board is made up 50% are artist members. So it's a really dedicated group of artists who help make our things happen, but also tell the world about it too.
Good.
So it's good.
Well, thank you. It's exciting to hear about what you're doing, and glad you could join us.